Hello BookTube, welcome to Lizziefaye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth and I am ready to do my book decluttering, purging project. And even though I'm technically on a channel break, I'm not yet ready to go back to doing regular Friday reads and wrap-ups and all of that. But I did say that I would film a little bit of my decluttering and my book purging and things like that. So today is Thursday, June 21st. My daughter Katie has been gone on a church trip all this week. She left last Friday and they aren't getting back until this Sunday. So one of the projects that I really wanted to tackle while she was gone is purging my books. Not because I want her to not be here, it's just that until we get our house renovated and our addition done, she doesn't have a bedroom and she sleeps in the living room. And I didn't want to, pile up the living room with books while she's still kind of using that as her room. So while she's not here for a few more days, I thought this would be a great time to pull out my books and at least get started. Now, I have read the KonMari book, and I do know that her recommendation is to pull out everything, of a similar thing and go through them all at once. I have cataloged over 1,300 books on my Kindle, and I am not done cataloging all my books. So I am not going to pull everything out all at once. What I am going to do to start with is pull out all of the books that are squirreled in different corners of my house that are not in shelves, proper bookshelves. So I have things beside me that are from my most recent book hauls. I have a couple of bins. Well, there's a bin on the floor in my utility room and a couple of boxes here. Now you may wonder why it's empty here. For the past few months I've been using this shelf as my staging shelf, and I decided, I think, that I'm gonna go back to using this whole area as more of a favorites shelf. Now these books down here are my husband's, and these up here are a combination. The majority of them are his. So if he doesn't care, which he doesn't, I'm probably going to move his books around the corner and use all of this for my books, since this is my, my backdrop. Now I got to thinking the other day, I told you I was going to start using my quilt as a backdrop, but it just, because it was in the living room, I just couldn't film in there. There was just too much going on, and there's not a good place to set up my camera, and so it just doesn't work. The room I'm in now is our home office, and it's long and narrow, so right now my camera is sitting on the file cabinet and it faces my books, which is perfect. So I love my bookcase quilt that my sister made. I just can't film in there right now. Now maybe when we get our renovation done, I might move that quilt to the hallway, and because right now we don't have a hallway there, but there will be one. What we're doing is adding on to our home, and hopefully they will be breaking ground very soon. Our builder was just here last night and we were signing some things, and we're going to be adding a bedroom, bathroom for Katie, and a garage. So I will be able to have a proper garage sale, and so I'm going against a little bit what all the expert declutterers say. They say, don't set aside stuff for a yard sale that you'll never have. Well, we actually do have yard sales. We have had a yard sale probably at least one every other year since we've been married, and they do just about do me in. But I think part of that is because without a garage, I can't take everything out until that day, and I have to we have to get it out fast, because the minute you start setting stuff on your yard, people start stopping, and there's never enough time to get it all set up properly. So by the time you get it all out and get it set up, it's time to bring it all back in, and then you have to hurry and bring it all back in before it rains, and it's just so hard to do a yard sale in Florida, although we have done it. So when I get a garage, before we ever really start getting the garage set up as a garage, I'm setting aside stuff right now for a huge garage sale. And not only will it be stuff from our house, I will also be selling some really cool vintage stuff that I brought from my mom's house when we sold that house, and that's how we're able to build onto our house. We're debt-free completely. We are building our addition debt-free thanks to the Dave Ramsey plan, and I will leave a link down below for Dave Ramsey's website in case you are interested in learning how to get out of debt and do it in the simplest way possible, I think. So we got out of debt, and then we sold my childhood home, and we're using that money to fund our building project. So there's a lot going on this summer. Now you might be able to understand, if this is your first time watching me, you might be able to understand why I'm on a break from my channel. But here I am to declutter my books. So I'm going to take you around my house. I'm not ready to let you see all of my mess, but I am going to show you the places where I have some books set aside, and then I'm going to take you into the living room where I've got a table set up and some floor space and my cedar chest and everything where I'm going to sort, and we'll just go from there. So here we go. So here we are in our living room. Here's Bob. He wanted to jump up there and say hi. This is a sleigh chair that originally came from IKEA. I got it at a thrift store, and it's amazing. It's sitting in front of our front door. You may wonder why. It's because I have a daughter with autism who tends to wander, and along with our addition to our home, we are going to be changing our doors to keypad doors. But for now, I have to keep the door barricaded, and Bob likes to lay there. I know that's an interesting looking cover. This throw I have on the chair came from Africa. One of my oldest and dearest friends is a retired missionary from Africa, and she sent me that one time from there, and it's beautiful. So anyway, I have my cedar chest here. I made that cedar chest in high school. Well, I started it, and then we ran out of school year, and the shop teacher, he basically finished it, like did the finishing and the staining and all of that, but I still like to say that I made it. It was my project, my shop project. So what's on top of there is the remaining books from my original book sharing project. Now, this has been a long time ongoing project. It is almost done. I've got 5 boxes right there that are addressed, taped up, and ready to go. So when I turn this off, I'm going to be taking those to my car. Under that big roll of tape is a box that has some of Katie's books that were gleaned from her bookshelf. They were some younger ones that I think she's done with, and that's what's in this box. So what's left in these boxes, I don't have them all spoken for yet. In the bottom box is some cozy mysteries, and then in the top are just some other random books. But I do still have a list of 7 people that I have some of these books earmarked for. So if I promised you a box of books or a package with 1 or 2 books, you are still getting some if you haven't. And some of these right here might be for you. I'm trying to think where all of these are going. One of these is going to California. One is going to, I think, West Virginia, Mississippi, and I forget where else. So I'm excited about getting those mailed, and I love sharing books with people. So anyway, I'm going to move all of this aside and use my cedar chest for sorting. But I just wanted to show you, these are books already that have been pulled from my book inventory. Now, some of these I have bought or picked up at fill a bag, fill a box sales. You know, I picked them up with the idea in mind to give them away. So also here in my living room, I've got a card table set up. I've already got 1 box in here. On my back porch, I've got several boxes. I made a trip the other day down to the Family Dollar, which is at the end of our street, and I picked up some empty boxes. So I've got plenty of sorting tools. Bob is here. He's gonna give me moral support, and Katie's cat Morris is here. So we are ready to move this stuff off, and in fact, I'm going to go ahead and put those 5 packages in the car, and then move the other stuff aside and start bringing in the books from all the places in the house, which I'm going to show you next. Okay, so moving on into my kitchen. Here on my kitchen table, I have some of the books from the shelf that was behind me in my office. So these are library checkouts and books I'm currently reading or have just finished or just about to read, things like that. And I've got to decide where my staging area is going to be, because right now it's on my kitchen table. Obviously, I don't want to keep them on the kitchen table. We do actually use our dining table to eat. We try to eat together as a family as often as possible. So the table gets used a lot, but then it gets cleaned off. The table is a very fluid place. I am happy to say every once in a while I will start a project that ends up getting left here for a couple of weeks, but for the most part I try to keep the table clear for actual eating, folding clothes, things like that, because right through here is our utility room. Now down here is a bin that has some things that are already going, and then the bin underneath it are some books that are set aside to give somebody. Alright, so over here I've got a buffet, which is where my CD player sits, and I have 3 CDs here, sets of CDs from the library. I am currently listening to Frog Kisser. I'm almost done with that. I am also currently listening to An Amish Love. These are my buddy reads. I am buddy reading this one with Sissy from Romance Queen of BookTube, and I am buddy reading Frog Kisser with Giselle Bradley. So then behind that I have our next Mystery Book Club book. I've read this before, but I went ahead and checked it out so I could refresh. The Sweetness at the Bottom of the Pie by Alan Bradley. And then behind that is a stack of books that have been sitting there for a little while. These were from a recent haul, and they just didn't have a place to go. Now behind that is my small cookbooks. Those are staying, but you can see I've got 2 or 3 stacked on top. So I need to go through those and try to purge a few so that I can put them back down in the holder like they're supposed to go. So that's one section of books that needs to get moved. So through the door and into my utility room, this is one of my secondary bookshelves. Our main bookshelves are in our office, which is to the right of where I am standing, to my right. So a while back, my father-in-law offered us 3 metal bookshelves, and I put 2 of them here in our utility room. The third one we painted lavender and put it in our daughter Emily's room. Now this is my utility room. So down below, you see on the bottom shelf, I do still have some recycling. That's where I keep plastic bags and paper bags for reuse. That bottom bin are things that are set aside for the Little Free Library. That bin has not been there for very long. In that space, I did have some videotapes, which I cleaned out of there. And so now that bin had been sitting out in front of the shelves, and I just stuck it there for now. But what's in that bin is stuff that is for our Little Free Library. Now, what's in this bin are just things that don't have a home. These are books, and they need to go on a shelf if I'm going to keep them. But on this shelf, I've got mostly Christian fiction and some middle grade series, then there's some nonfiction, and then there's middle grade, and then my general women's fiction, general fiction, and then some storage up there. Oh, and then here on my dryer, there's a couple of stacks of books that don't belong there. So those need to find a home, or something's got to go from these shelves so that all of these books that are not in shelves can find a home. Then moving on across the room, this little area here, that is also another recycle bin for cans. Let me move it out of the way. So on this little cart, this is where my husband sets his bag, his work bag, lunch bag, and all of that. And then that's my purse in the back corner. And of course, there's books stacked in front. So those books need to get put away. There's also some books here that was just supposed to be kind of a holding area, and they have ended up staying. I might make that my staging area for library books and things like that. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. And then down below, that's my portable sewing machine that's in that white case. Alright, so on this shelf, as I said, the bottom is some recycling and things for Little Free Library. Then I have fantasy on the next shelf up. Then the next 2 shelves are all mysteries, predominantly cozy mysteries. And then the top shelf is kind of a hodgepodge. That used to be my staging shelf, and I may have to go ahead and make all 3 shelves for mysteries, unless I'm willing to get rid of a lot more mysteries. I don't know. And then up top, I have some of my genealogy files stored, and then all of my guidepost books. Actually, this is not all of the guidepost books. Some of the guidepost books are tucked in the back corner that you can't see because these shelves are double and triple stacked. So I don't mind having the guidepost books up there until I start actively reading them, and I believe I am going to start one of the series that's in the back, so they need to be shifted around a little bit. So this top shelf definitely needs to come off and get sorted, because right now it's just a mix of things. But first I'm going to concentrate on getting this stuff off the floor. Okay, so next we're going to go through this door right here. This goes into our home office, which is where I usually do most of my filming. And before you judge me too harshly, there are some bins in there stacked that are eBay inventory that my husband stacked in there. Everything that's in there is not the result of my hoarding. I really try hard not to be a hoarder, but there definitely are some things that need to go. So the majority of the plastic bins that you're going to see in the next room are eBay inventory, and until we get a garage, we just don't have a place, another place to put them. Then there are some banker boxes that are the result of an organizing project that I attempted and didn't complete, so that stuff is in boxes that needs to be gone through. And then there are some books. So let's go through the door and I'll show you. Okay, so here are the bookshelves where I film. These are the bookshelves that I film in front of. And here are the books from my most recent hauls that you can see. They are in flat boxes that are sitting on top of banker boxes. Now, the banker boxes are the result from an organizing project that I tried at the recommendation from Sandra Felton's books. Sandra Felton is the organizer lady, and she recommends that you put a lot of your clutter into banker boxes and then stack them up and then go through the boxes one at a time and, you know, eliminate, process, and all of that. In theory, that sounds great, but for me, I stalled out once I got them in boxes, and then I moved on to other projects, and so they work really good as kind of a table to put my books on that I'm talking about in videos. However, I don't want them sitting in front of my bookshelves for the rest of my life. So I am going to have to deal with these boxes eventually. There are 3 more over there. What I do to film is I stand in between these boxes, and a recent addition has been this bin, which I believe is also eBay inventory. So now I'm even more cramped where I'm standing, and those boxes that are on top of the bin definitely are going to come in the living room to get sorted. And then that bin right there, I'm pretty sure that is some stuff of my husband's that he set there for eBay. Then also I've got another bag with some books, a little short stack there, and then those bins there are eBay inventory. So we have a lot of work to do, a lot of projects, but it won't be like this forever. And there is some more clutter to the left that I'm not going to show you. But I do want to get over here and sort through and reorganize my bookshelves. Oh, then walking forward here on through the room, I do have another 2 boxes of books there. One box is what originally came off of this empty shelf behind me, and then the box on top and the ones that are stacked are from a recent haul. And then over to the right there is another little bag of books that my husband pulled from somewhere and said, I'm done with these, do with them what you want. So those are going to get sorted as well. Okay, so I have come to the other side of the office. I'm sitting in the office chair. This just gives you another view of the books that need to come out of here. There is where I film, and then on around the corner, which you can't ever see while I'm filming, this is the rest of the built-in shelves. This office is amazing. I mean, we have these floor-to-ceiling built-in shelves. You just can't see the floor because there's boxes. So all of that needs to get dealt with. And then over here, a lot of these are, on the right is most of our nonfiction. And then you will see an empty space there because I did have my 39 Clues books, which I just took off and mailed to my sister's grandson Tate. So that opened up some space. And then I've got my Newbery winners. And then here I have my 2 shelves of paperback Grace Livingston Hill books. And then down below are some more nonfiction. Then back in the corner, I have audiobooks on CD and cassette, DVDs, small books. Bob is back. Hi, Bob. Hi, Bob. There's CDs. We've got home movies, more audiobooks, things like that. Way up at the top is my husband's CD collection and a few of my own. So those need to be gone through in a major way. Everything is a mess. It needs to be dealt with. So, with in mind the fact that we are going to be having a yard sale pretty soon, at some point between now and then, all of these things need to be gone through and purged. But like I said, for now, I'm going to start with what is on the floor. So let's get to it. Alright, so I have done it. I have brought all of the books from all the various locations where they did not belong. Everything that was not in shelves that I showed you earlier are here in this one central location in my living room. I even found a couple of stacks that I had not shown you, and I've brought those in. The only other books I need to go ahead and pull off the shelves are from my utility room, what used to be my staging shelf. Those are kind of a mix. So I'm going to go through book by book, sort out, purge some, and then sort by genre. And then I will pull each genre off the shelf one at a time and, you know, then figure out what's going to go back on the shelves. So, I have already mailed the packages that were sitting here ready to go. I went to the post office and stopped by the dollar store, got some more batteries for my camera. By the way, you probably have noticed that I'm filming on my old camera. My phone did come back to life. It's still charging slowly, but it is alive. However, as I've said before, I don't know how to edit and get my videos from the phone to the computer to edit. So I'm using my old camera so that I can put these different pieces and parts together. So if the lighting is not as great right now, it's because it's dark. It's gotten dark and cloudy outside, and there's just, for some reason, this old camera does not pull in much light like my phone does. So I'm going to turn off the camera, turn my audiobook back on, get busy sorting. Now, this is the part where a lot of people would set up the camera and then film themselves sorting, and they would speed it up and put music behind it and all that. I don't know how to do any of that, so I'm just going to have to turn off the camera, get busy, and I will report back in a little bit. Okay, so I'm back, and my camera is telling me that this card is almost full. So I will wrap this video up quickly and just tell you that I have counted the books. I have sorted them by genre. It is 24 hours later now. It took me a little while to get back to it. I did spend a couple of hours sorting last night, and I started out with about, I think, 386 books that I brought in here. I've already put away about 4 that were books that just went other random places on like Katie's shelves or whatever, and those were easy to put away. And then I have sorted out, there's a box on top of the cedar chest behind those stacks there. What's stacked on top of the box and the box, there's 38 books in there that I have already culled from all of these books that that can go. You know, either they were earmarked for someone in particular, or I'm done with them now, or I don't think I'm going to read them, or I've already read them, whatever. So those in that box that's closest to the curtain, those are the books that are going. All the others, there still could potentially be some more that I can get rid of, but I am going to bring out each genre one at a time, and then I will you know, decide once I get
all the rest of the books from that genre out, and I could see them. So kind of a KonMari method, but just by genre instead of all the books all at once. This will probably take me a week to do. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up, and this will just be my part 1 of my book purge. And there's some more over there. Let's see, I'll show you everything. Those are the mysteries. Then over here, and there's like 50 cozy mysteries, paperback mysteries. Those that are standing up in the mystery box are some classics. On the very bottom box, I've got a whole box of Eugenia Price. That next stack is Christmas. Behind that is middle grade. Those 2 stacks next to that are general fiction, women's fiction. Then just some other random things. I've got a box of Christian fiction, a box of Amish fiction, paperback romances, nonfiction, and then favorites, series, things like that, that will probably go on my favorites shelf. So that's all for this video. I will see you in another video, and I'm going to turn off the camera and get back to work. Have a great day, read a good book, and God bless you.